Welcome to Category 5 Technology TV. Exciting week for us tonight because we are talking about the Orville and some really exciting news that it got unveiled on the weekend that continues to be unveiled tonight. You don't want to miss it. Stick around, put everything aside, prepare for this, and just wait for that ominous moment where you go,
this is intense.
I love it.
This is Category 5 Technology TV.
Our live recordings are trusted only to solid-state drives by Kingston Technology. Revive your computer with improved performance and reliability with Kingston SSDs.
Category 5 TV streams live with Telestream Wirecast and Nimble Streamer. Tune in every week on Roku, Kodi, Plex, and other HLS video players. For local showtimes, visit category5.tv.
Category5.tv is a member of the Tech Podcast Network. If it's tech, it's here. cat5.tv/TPN and the International Association of Internet Broadcasters. cat5.tv/IAIB.
Welcome to the show, everybody. So great to have you here for episode number 609. We've got a great show planned this week, and it's been quite a week, hasn't it?
It sure has.
You and me are superstars a la video game.
That we are.
I'm kind of jealous.
Would you like an autograph?
Jeff, you weren't here that week.
I know. Don't rub it in.
Anybody who's watching the show a fan of the Orville?
Yes.
Yeah, me too. Me too, Jeff. So that's why I was so honored when the Orville Interactive Fan Experience decided to feature Sasha and I in-game. Yeah.
But I did notice you're both in red shirts.
I gave them a hard time over that, and they said, go, Robbie, go. Save the ship.
And you didn't have weapons either.
I didn't.
There's a battle going on. They're the ones in red shirts without weapons. I'm like, I feel like somebody's being set up here.
So the Kalon are attacking the Orville in their trailer.
Yeah.
And Sasha and I, with me at the lead, so thank you very much, Messy Desk Interactive, for putting me at the lead. I'm running out toward a Kalon warrior with nothing in my hands, like as if I'm just, what am I going to do, punch a Kalon?
You're going to tackle them.
You think so?
That's right. You're going to tackle them.
Luckily, off to my right, Bortus is about to stun the guy. With whatever phaser rifle setting that he's got set. So, but at least I'm in front, so I'm protecting you,
Thank
Sasha. I'm
Robbie.
guessing that, Jeff, you're perhaps the person that's crouched in behind Sasha, like, please don't hurt me.
What?
I'm just guessing.
You're the guy running into danger, all like courageous, like, and you're like, yeah, Jeff's the guy behind me.
I don't know why. Why did they put me in a red shirt?
Because
running out in front of a Kalon attack with Bortus and the Kalon going at it, and I am running out into that action
because it's
with nothing in my hands.
No, okay, maybe
is that what it is?
You are the weapon.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, beast mode on.
Beast mode on.
Yeah.
You're the weapon.
Wicked.
All right, we need to get out of your ego trip here.
No, it's not an ego trip. I was honored, if anything else.
Very cool. Very cool.
So if you don't know what we're talking about, of course, follow our new Twitter channel. I beg you. Union_point on Twitter.
Now explain that one for somebody who doesn't know the Orville.
Well, if you are a fan of the Orville, that's the place to be, because that's where we are working with a variety of people that are working with the Orville in order to, I don't know, leak stuff that is coming soon. You know, that kind of stuff.
Get you in the know.
Yeah, you know. And speaking of leaking stuff that is coming soon, this evening, this week, on Category 5 Technology TV, we are joined by one of the creators of the Orville, the Interactive Fan Experience.
So exciting!
So I'm going to be speaking with Dan, and we're going to be talking about that project, how they've been able to make that come about, and just incidentally, so and part of why I guess we were featured is because this is the same company, the same production studio that created the Stage 9 recreation of the Starship Enterprise. You remember that?
Yes. That was
so yeah, we went in and we dressed up in Starfleet uniforms. We were on a green screen, and we showed off their project, and then CBS shut it down.
I feel
And-
like CBS has been doing that a lot with the Star Trek stuff.
Well, yeah.
Too
Too bad.
So Fox, on the other hand, has at least said, hey, this can go forward. And so that's where the Orville interactive fan experience comes in. So tonight we're going to be talking about that, learning about it from one of the very creators of that project. And just keeping in the back of our minds that it's the same people that brought us Stage 9 is what it was called, NCC 1701D, the Starship Enterprise from Star Trek The Next Generation. And it was a lot of fun supporting them back then, and now with this new unveiling of this product for the Orville, we're very thrilled to be a part of that. And finally able to talk about it.
That's right.
Yeah. So that's coming up later in the show today. Before we get into it, make sure that you subscribe to us on YouTube. You can make sure also that you check off that bell. That's going to ensure that you receive those notifications whenever we are live. So if you're on your phone, it's going to say, hey, Category 5 TV is live. And that's your time to fire it up, pop the popcorn, and get ready to go. Shall we jump into it?
Yeah.
So, we are speaking about the Orville and the Orville fan, interactive fan experience here this week. And so I'm going to jump over to the green screen and we're going to have a chat with one of the creators.
Okay.
I'm speaking with Dan Govier. He's the project lead at the Orville Interactive Fan Experience at Messy Desk Interactive. Welcome to the show, Dan.
Thank you. It's good to be on.
First off, how did your ragtag group of genius miscreants get started?
Well, I guess it all began with a bunch of geeks just hanging out on the internet, throwing together some Star Trek meshes. And slowly we kind of evolved into a semi-organized group doing the Enterprise D. Yeah, it just evolved from there.
Mentioning the Enterprise D, so those who are not aware, Stage 9, you may be familiar with the name, CBS and cease and desist comes to mind. You and your team have been through a lot, Dan. You've had some time to process it. How, at this point, do you feel about that whole thing?
Well, to be honest, we like to look upon it as an opportunity. It was a good practice run at managing a project of that kind of scale. Obviously, we would have loved to continue doing the Enterprise D, but it just wasn't possible. But luckily, there is another show out there which holds all the ideals that we hold dear to heart. So it's an obvious choice to move on to the Orville.
Is it just me, or does sometimes it seems as though Avis shone upon you? As a fan creation, Dan, Stage 9 and now, of course, the Orville Interactive Fan Experience, they're very much a labor of love for you and your team. So when the cease and desist happened, a lot of us would simply give up. You know, your dreams are like shot down in an instant like that. We were all really, really excited about what Stage 9 was doing. You were gaining momentum, and then suddenly, snap, CBS shut it down. So can I just ask, like on a personal level, for yourself and for your team, what kept you guys going?
I think grim determination initially. We explored every avenue we possibly could to try and keep the project alive. And in the end, I mean, even after it was obvious that it wasn't going to go anywhere, we thought to ourselves, a lot of talented guys, and it would be crazy to sort of all go.
Sorry, I think we're losing you there. If you just watch, we seem to be losing you, but I think you're back.
Internet issues.
There you go.
Yeah, so we had a really talented team of developers, and it would have been crazy to break that team up and go and do a thing. So, we decided, let's stick together, let's do something else, let's try and make the next project even more special than the last.
Let's see what shows come along that are not made by CBS.
Yeah, exactly.
Dan, you guys made the announcement on Monday, and since then we've been leaking screenshots through our Twitter account to fans of the Orville, just so that they can see what's coming from Messy Desk. How has the response been from the fans for you guys?
Wow, it's been humbling, honestly. It's been extreme. I mean, we thought fans would probably get a kick out of what we were doing, but it exploded overnight. I think we had an extra 350 people join our Discord just in one afternoon.
Wonderful.
Yeah, just absolutely mental. And honestly, we were so excited this project. Seeing the fan excitement as well just drives us that little bit harder to make it.
And how about the creators of the Orville? Can you tell us a little bit about how they've responded to your fan project?
Sure, yeah. We initially made a few phone calls, hit some dead ends, didn't really know who to talk to. But in the end, we got a hold of Tom on Reddit.
Yeah.
And Tom's a huge figure in the community. He does such an amazing job of getting the message out there. He deals with all the and he goes above and beyond.
He represents, doesn't he? He really represents to us what a community ambassador should be like.
Yeah, absolutely. And we sent him a pitch video, and he sent it back and just said, "Wow, I've showed this to all the guys, and everyone loves it." And then we thought, you know what? I think this can go somewhere.
Yeah. So can I ask, that pitch video, was it Stage 9? Was it NCC 1701D, or had you been working on something to do with the Orville?
So, we actually started work on the project about October, or the beginning of October last year. So we had some of the first deck fleshed out, bridge, ready rooms, corridors. We just did a quick fly around to show what we. So we had a fair bit done quite quickly.
Since your launch, or since the announcement of the coming launch, what has been the response of the creators of the show?
They've been really supportive. They can't throw any kind of official backing behind it because it's not licensed. We hope maybe one day we can get a license, but right now, they're fans of the project as much as we're fans of the Orville. So we've got a fan-to-fan relationship. There's nothing official going on there. But it's great that they love it, and it's great that they get a kick out. And that means the world to us.
Isn't that cool? So behind the scenes, being a fan project, it's not officially endorsed, but what kind of blessing do you have from the creators, or what kind of okay do you have to go ahead and do this?
I guess the best we've achieved is we haven't been told not to do the project. We had a meeting with Fox. Fox know who we are. They know what we're doing.
Yeah.
They haven't given an official sort of green light for that, but we have been allowed to go ahead and do a fan project, completely non-commercial, for fans by fans, and on that basis, they're happy for it to exist.
Very good. I can't wait to see where it goes. It's time for us to take a really quick break, Dan. When we get back, we're going to see some more in-game renders, and we're going to find out details about the game itself from the project lead, Dan Govier. And ultimately, we're going to get to the bottom of how you can set your virtual foot on the decks of the Orville. Stick around. Let's talk about the underlying technology. I hear you're using a current version of Unreal Engine 4. So, Dan, what has that meant for both you in the production end, and by you I mean Messy Desk, the entire team, and what does it mean for the fans as well?
Well, it's a huge platform, Unreal Engine. It's really well supported, and it does things like VR out of the box really, really well.
Yeah,
and it's those core systems which we're relying on quite heavily. And Unreal Engine is, the blueprint interface is something that we're very fond of. You can prototype systems, really, really grow it all. It's robust. It's mostly stable. It's great. But yeah, it's good to work with, and also it's got quite a lot of cross-platform support. So things like Steam VR and stuff supported out of the box, which is a big.
Yeah, that's huge. You made the announcement and posted the video on Monday. And it was really exciting, of course, for myself and Sasha to see our likeness featured. So I suggested a couple of minor adjustments to our models just to make them look a little more true to us. And you said that, in fact, players are going to be able to modify their own character models in-game. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. I guess you can think of it as like an MMO-style character customization. So, sort of body width and different facial styles, hairstyle, uniform colors, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Maybe extend it to other things like hats and stuff. The old Stage 9 Christmas hat.
I spotted that. That was one of the Easter eggs. Yeah. Yeah. Is it going to have multiplayer?
It is planned for day one. I mean, we have tested it and it is working. It needs a little bit more testing to be sure that, because obviously we want to release something that works well and not something that works slightly.
Yeah. What kinds of... Sorry, I know our connection between Earth and Europa is a little shaky tonight, but I lost you just at the end there. What kinds of multiplayer should we expect, Dan? Like, are we talking deathmatch? Are we talking collaborative?
Sure. Well, initially it's going to be literally just hang out with your friends, explore the ship together, just have some adventures. But you'll also be able to pick up a pistol, shoot your friend in the face, because anything's fun. So there'll be all kinds of shenanigans you can get up to in multiplayer. And we're quite keen to make a playground for the players to make their own adventures, in addition to some scripted stuff as well.
Oh, it sounds awesome. I wasn't expecting the multiplayer aspect. Do we need to set up a server? Are there going to be publicly accessible servers? I can imagine that Union Point is going to launch one, if that's an available option.
Well, we're looking at Steam as a distribution platform.
Okay.
So we'll be using the Steam multiplayer functionality. Which would be great.
Great.
So you should be able to direct connect with your friends on
peer-to-peer.
There are some potential licensing issues there with it being an existing IP, whether or not we have permission to use Steam, but that's the number one plan.
Okay.
If not, we're looking at something like a Minecraft model, so you could maybe run your own server, your friends can, or just join an existing.
That could be cool. What other features can we expect that will really get us excited as far as like out of the box at launch day? What are we going to see?
Wow, it's difficult to say because we're going to do a staged release. So much like Stage 9, we'll release an initial version of the project.
Yeah.
And that project will evolve over time. So we'll add more features, go along the line. Hopefully, we'll have the environment simulator in on launch, where you can load different sim. We've got ideas that will hide the actual chips that power the different sims around the ship. So you've got to find, take them back to the nearest eSIM, plug it in, see what it runs. There's plenty of opportunity for Easter eggs there.
Very good. What kind? When I think about these features that are going to be coming, I mean, it sounds like you're planning to launch a pretty well, like, fully playable product right on day one. Is that right?
Pretty much. A lot of the shit won't be fleshed out initially. Again, same with Stage 9. So we'll probably go deck by deck. There are, I'm going to say 10 decks so far. I mean, it's a bit of a squeeze.
It looks like that staircase goes down about 1,000 decks.
It looks more than it is. It's only 10.
Yeah, okay. How are you finding the size of the ship compared to NCC 1701D? Is this...
It's a lot smaller.
Yeah.
I think in terms of internal volume, you're looking something about the size of Voyager.
Okay.
So it's not a big ship. But it's big enough.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're going to be able to tour it in a very short amount of time. What kind of hardware requirements are there going to be for this?
Less than Stage 9. It's a lot more optimized than Stage 9. So if you ran Stage 9 pretty well, then you should be absolutely fine for the Orville. I've personally got a GTX 960, and I usually pull 50 frames a second both places. So for me, it's working fine on a relatively mid-range graphic.
Great. If I don't have a VR headset, am I still going to be able to play okay?
Yeah. So it's going to support first person and VR, completely optional. We're hoping this time to get both in the same release. So as before, you had to download 2 separate versions. So hopefully we'll get those combined.
Oh, wouldn't that be fantastic? Oh, that's great. Speaking of like versions and releases, are we going to be seeing this project available for Mac, Windows, Linux, Android, or are you targeting a particular platform?
So initially, Windows, Mac, and Linux. So all 3 platforms supported.
Great.
We got a lot of people requesting PSVR. Yes, we'd like to, but the dev kit's quite expensive. Obviously, for a free fan project, funds are always going to be a problem. But yes, if we can, we will. And then yes, we might have to do a more cut down version for mobiles. But I think Stage 9 was working briefly on mobile at one. So it's something we'll explore.
Cool. Yeah, that raises an interesting kind of situation that you have, is that it could cost a lot of money to implement some of the features that fans want to see, but you can't charge for the product because it's a fan production, correct?
Correct.
So how do you make that work? Like, is this all out of pocket, or is there some way that the community can back it?
Right now, it's all literally out of pocket. As you said, this is a labor of love. You know, if we need a feature, we implement that feature. It's how long it takes or how hard it is. It's kind of irrelevant, because if we want it bad enough, we put it in the game. And that goes for the community as well. If the community at large has a particular feature that they're really keen on seeing in the game, then we'll do our best to get it in there.
Very good. And speaking of the fact that you can't monetize it, how much will it cost us to install? And I know the answer, and I think that you watching it at home know the answer. But how much is this going to cost us?
Free. Completely free.
Completely free. So what still has to happen? I mean, we know that you're hoping for early summer release 2019. What has to happen still before you can release the game to the public?
So we're actually looking to release a set tour. So the Orville was set on stage 15, Fox stage 15, and we're going to recreate stage 15 as best we can. So it's just basically the first 2 decks of the ship.
Oh.
And we hope to have that up maybe 3 to 4 weeks for people. But it's literally just the first 2 decks. Bit of a taster, bit of a demo. This is what we're up to.
So you're going to tease us even more? I want to tour the whole ship.
And that's just to give the fans, something to play while they wait for us to release the proper version 1.
Yeah.
Because we need to completely dismantle that and rearrange everything, so it makes more sense as a proper working starship. The layout on the soundstage is not particular for a starship.
Well, that sounds great. It's going to be nice that, I love that you're at least giving us a taste that we can get in and actually try it, see how our hardware handles it, and get ready for what's next. Do you have any particular needs in your organization that perhaps somebody in our community can support if you're looking for a particular talent or skill set? Are there any of those that are still maybe lacking or perhaps could use a little bit of help?
Yeah. So we recently took on someone that we found on Twitter. If there's someone out there and they're doing quality Orville-related work just as a passion project itself, then that's exactly the kind of person we bring onto the team. Mm-hmm. Because it's someone that's they're already into the Orville, they already love the idea. They feel that creative need, modeling and drawing and coding, and it's those kind of people we're looking for. So yeah, I mean, if you continue to love the Orville, we'd love to hear.
Are they best to reach out to you on Twitter, or what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Discords.
Discord?
We spend all day pretty much hanging out on Discord, so hit us up on there.
All right, and we'll post links for you. So if you're watching this and wondering, okay, how can I find this? We're going to post links below. And of course, if you follow us on Twitter, union_point, we will have those links for you there as well. Dan, thank you so much to you and the team at Messy Desk Interactive for your countless hours. I mean, I can't even imagine all the work that you have put into this for the fans of the Orville. And an extra special thanks to those who create the Orville for allowing this fan creation to go forward. You truly do remind us, sci-fi fans, what a real community ambassador should look like. That is so awesome. I'm so excited about this.
Me
Graphics
too.
were beautiful.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Unreal Engine 4 is astonishing in its own right.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
I mean, the team at Messy Desk have just done a fantastic job of recreating the entire experience. So much so that Tom, in fact, said on Twitter that it's so realistic, it's scary. Like, this is the guy.
scared.
This is the guy who's standing there while the films are, or while the crew is filming, and he's standing in the actual physical studio space.
That's cool.
And now looking at the virtual space and saying that is uncanny, how accurate this has been, and that's what they've been doing.
You ought to come play it over at my house.
I would like that.
Let's do that.
She's got. Is it the
know.
Vive?
I have the Vive.
The Vive.
And
I feel
Nice.
like I need to forego other life expenses like food just so that I can buy a VR computer.
And that's what folks are
come
saying.
on
Is
over and
I had no interest in VR, but now I want to go out and buy it. That's what
Right.
folks are saying on Twitter, and that's kind of my thought as well. I'm kind of feeling that way.
exactly.
Yeah. And who would have thought that the Orville, a creation of Seth MacFarlane, would bring us here?
I know. Like, when the show first started, it was kind of a joke. Not a joke as in like, oh my god.
We
this is
thought it
horrible.
was going to be a spoof.
Yeah.
Is what
did.
we were
And it
expecting.
just turned it kind of has like this cult following now.
Already.
It's a great show.
Season 3 hasn't even started
But
yet.
he's brilliant. So
He
that
is.
it
Yes.
makes sense that this would just
And I say yes with that vocal fry a little bit because, yes, he is brilliant, but I still can't get past the fact that Seth MacFarlane is Brian.
Yeah.
And I said that to my wife, Becca. I said, like, oh, look, Seth MacFarlane has brought out some music, and he's crooning, and he's fantastic.
He is.
But he's also bit himself in the butt by being Brian. So when I hear his music, I'm thinking that's Brian.
Right.
In my mind's eye.
Right.
I
You've
need to get past
associated
that. I
it
even
too
said to my
much.
wife, I wish that I never saw the Family Guy. So if you haven't seen Family Guy, don't watch it until you've already become a fan.
So you're one of
the
those
Orville.
people that can like just lock and load a voice and you have
As
that.
soon as I hear Seth MacFarlane's crooning, I picture Brian.
You're the second
dog.
person to say that today. I was talking to
Yeah.
somebody at work about this, and he's like, you know what? I love the Orville. He's like, but all I hear is Brian.
Yeah.
I'm not that person. I can
separate.
Ed Mercer, though, I can separate a little easier because he's not singing
Right.
and there's a visual. And he's doing a fantastic job.
Mm-hmm.
And he's doing a lot. I mean, some folks have said maybe he's taken on too much by being like this show's creator and like overseer and superstar
But that's how
he's
you
doing a
lose
really
control
good
of
job.
Yeah.
the vision, though.
you can't be driven by passion and want to do as much as you possibly can. So
Yeah.
maybe he's just doing as much as his
Well,
passion will allow him.
Not
Do
only
the same
passion,
with,
but
like,
talent.
But
Yeah.
look at it from the same way as Cat 5. Like right now, you are like the jack of all trades for Cat 5. But imagine if you're like, I just want some spare time. I'm going to farm out some of these functions. You would lose some of that control.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't have that essence of the
Please
balls nerve.
take some of that from me.
Right. You would tear your hair out.
Did I mention I'm going to be here until 11 o'clock at night producing
you
this?
did. But I can totally see on his aspect, he's looking at it going, but this is how I maintain the vision I want.
Oh,
Right.
absolutely.
So you have
absolutely.
to.
Yeah.
That's
And
cool.
and what has been created here is a fandom that is beyond anything that I've ever seen in my lifetime.
Mm-hmm.
I missed it for the next generation. I was a child.
Yep.
I was an early teen. And I missed it for Enterprise because I didn't know that it was as good as it was. And
Until
so
after
I
it
didn't
ended?
get into it until after it had ended.
Yeah.
There was no Twitter back then. There was no social media. So I missed the boat on that. And
Right. Here we are now.
here we've got an opportunity to be a part of a fan base that is active, that's socially active. So we have Twitter, and Twitter is the best place probably to find the Orville. Mm-hmm. And with things like our channel on Twitter, Union_Point, you're going to find that there's just so much of a community there. Mm-hmm. And so much so that even the creators of the show are interacting with the fan base. And so when we say that Tom is interacting with the fan base, like, that's what we mean. Mm-hmm. Like, the very people who are working with the show and on set are, in fact, the people that are tweeting and sharing behind the scenes and
right.
talking with the fans.
Right.
So it's a whole different world.
Mm-hmm. So exciting. I'm excited what the future's got for us.
I know that we are video game superstars, but we're also fans.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
we can wear both hats.
With you, we're also
so
fans.
Modest, Sasha.
Yeah.
So modest.
But when you see us in the game, you'll be like, there's Robbie. There's Sasha. Speaking of Sasha, it's time for the Sasha Show. Are you ready
Certainly
for the
am.
Sasha Show? Folks, are you ready for the Sasha Show?
Here we go.
All right. Well, on that note...
barbershop music.
What? We need
What?
20s barbershop music for the Sasha Show?
Well, because you like
What?
the Sasha Show, so I'm picturing, like, Sasha Show.
You do that.
I'm not doing that.
We need to
Just
work
so-
on our harmonies after,
Just-
after tonight's show.
Yeah.
Next week, folks, we're going to have the barbershop quartet, or the duet.
Here are the stories we're covering this week in the Category 5.tv newsroom. Remember Microsoft's Patch Tuesday security update with all the critical security fixes? Sophos is telling its users to roll it back if they want to be able to boot their computer. Baltimore's ransomware nightmare could last weeks more, with big consequences as houses can't be sold and bills can't be paid while city networks are shuttered. South Korea wants to switch government computers to Linux-based software, ditching Microsoft Windows in the process. And Google admitted Tuesday its paid-for G Suite of cloudy apps aimed at businesses stored some user passwords in encrypted plain text. These stories are coming right up. Don't go anywhere.
This is the Category 5.tv newsroom, covering the week's top tech stories with a slight Linux bias.
Jeff Weston,
Yeah, man.
you're building a brand new, beautiful website,
What?
aren't you?
No. Am I?
Oh, you're a terrible actor.
What?
This is where acting comes into play.
Oh, I didn't know we were acting.
You're supposed to act.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
I'm building a really cool website. Are you building a really cool website? Just because Jeff is confused doesn't mean you have to be. Visit cat5.tv/dreamhost to sign up for unlimited web hosting for your website with unlimited email accounts, MySQL databases, the latest version of PHP, WordPress, and more, and even a free domain name registration. It's less than $6 per month, so sign up today. cat5.tv/dreamhost.
I'm Sasha Rickman, and here are the top stories we're following this week. Remember Microsoft's Patch Tuesday security update with all the critical security fixes? Sophos is telling its users to roll it back if they want to be able to boot their computer. These are the same patches that protect servers against the latest Intel exploits. In an advisory note published over the weekend, Sophos admitted that the latest batch of Windows updates are causing the machines of some people using its antivirus software to hang on boot while getting stuck while displaying the message configuring 30%. Its advice on what to do is pretty blunt. Uninstall Windows Update. Specifically, revert KB4499164 and KB4499165. The problem with that advice is that the patches are intended to mitigate a nasty vulnerability which permits unauthenticated remote code execution through the remote desktop service. We pointed out last week that the issue is so serious that Microsoft has even released patches for its long unsupported operating systems, Windows 2003 and Windows XP. Sophos themselves have also reiterated the severity of this exploit, yet their advice remains: remove the fix. Microsoft is taking this bug very seriously, saying the vulnerability could be abused to spread a worm similar to the way the WannaCry propagated networks a couple of years back. So far, nobody has seen an in the wild use of the exploit for this vulnerability identified by Microsoft, but in this day and age, it's only a question of time, especially now that miscreants know about the issue. Quote, Sophos is working diligently on determining the issue and will provide ongoing customer guidance, end quote. In other words, they're being vague about what the problem is, how long it will be before they fix it for their users.
It's very concerning.
Being vague. Go figure.
Yeah, but a security company who says, hey, remove the security patches, that's dangerous.
Yeah. So,
And a dangerous precedent.
exactly.
Yeah.
So asking somebody to remove the update that protects them from the WannaCry-like exploit seems worse to me than saying, I'm sorry that you've lost your computer. Hang tight, we'll figure something out.
Yeah.
Sorry, it's stuck at 30%. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't be saying to people now, just go ahead and uninstall that.
You know what? Let's fix the problem.
Yeah.
Make it so it's not a problem, I guess.
It makes me wonder if
I don't envy them.
if it was just somebody going, well, what do they do in the meantime? I'll just uninstall it. Like, you know, was somebody just not thinking, like, well, they can just get rid of it?
I think they just determined that this is a problem between Sophos and the Windows update.
Yeah.
So what do? Do you remove Sophos? No.
You install Linux.
You don't
Well, yeah, but
But you don't
presumably.
uninstall the update that's going to protect against a huge ransomware exploit. Like, it's going to be huge.
Can be.
It could be huge. Not. It's.
I mean, this is a code execution exploit that allows not only the execution, but the propagation of a worm
Right.
on a network of computers. So with one compromised computer, which is easy to compromise, and to elevate your privileges to a point where you can execute tasks as the administrator without any intervention or issue.
Yeah. I just
Without
picture-
even having to know a password.
If it was serious enough that Windows was willing to, like, Microsoft was like, hey, antiquated, unsupported operating systems here.
Yeah.
Like I will happily cover this update for you.
The problem is, though, chances are if somebody's still running an old version, like XP or something, their system may not be able to handle the upgraded software. Like, you couldn't just take an old XP computer and put Windows 10 on it. Like, it could grind to a halt.
But also that brings to mind another thought, is that if you're using Windows XP and you have Sophos, you are using an old version of Sophos.
Right.
Right.
You can't install the new version because it requires Windows 10.
Right.
That's something I haven't thought of. Yeah.
Could you just install Linux?
That's
the second time we've-
that's our answer to everything. Yes. If you want to breathe new life into your computer and forget about all these woes that you hear about week after week, because we're always going on about Microsoft screwing things up and breaking things and sitting at 30% updated and
Could you imagine
Sophos
how
battling.
frustrating that is? Especially
I
if you
can,
get,
because I work in the industry.
Especially if you get to 30% quickly. That's the thing.
Yeah.
Oh, it's just clocking along. I'll just go whip up a grilled cheese or something.
Yeah.
Swing on back, like a half hour
still at
later, it's still at
30%.
30.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, wait. Hold on here.
Something's up.
I always end up doing the updates overnight, and that way I don't have to care.
Oh, so you plan your Windows updates?
I plan my updates,
Wow.
Oh.
That's a novel idea.
so it doesn't impact
And
my
an-
day.
I don't like it when I
awfully
turn off the
onerous
computer
process.
and my two options are update and shut down or update and restart. And I'm like, oh, wait now. That's it?
And from the mind of Solbu in our chat room, who says, computers are like air conditioners. They don't work properly if you open Windows.
Oh,
Burn.
Last word. Mic drop.
Yeah.
Baltimore's ransomware nightmare could last weeks more, with big consequences as houses can't be sold and bills can't be paid while city networks are shuttered. It's been nearly 2 weeks since the city of Baltimore's networks were shut down in response to a ransomware attack, and there's still no end in sight to the attack's impact. It might be weeks more before the city's services return to something resembling normal. Manual workarounds are being put in place to handle some services now, but the city's water billing and other payment systems remain offline, as well as most of the city's emails and much of the government's phone systems. Unlike the city of Atlanta, which suffered from a SamSam ransomware attack in March of 2018, Baltimore has no insurance to cover the cost of a cyber attack. So the cost of cleaning up the Robinhood ransomware, which will far exceed the approximately $70,000 the ransomware operators demanded, will be borne entirely by Baltimore's citizens. Baltimore's information security manager warned of the need for such a policy during a budget hearing last year, but in the final budget did not include funds for that policy, nor did it include funding for expanded security training for city employees or other strategic investments that were part of the mayor's strategic plan for the city's information technology infrastructure. City officials have provided a few details about the extent of the attack, as the city is cooperating with an FBI investigation. But it appears that the ransomware was triggered on some systems in the early hours of May 7th when email service was suddenly interrupted. The city's response to the attack has thrown many city services into disorder or shut them down entirely. The attack was first reported by Baltimore's Department of Public Works when the department's official Twitter account announced that its email access was cut off, and it reported phones and other systems were affected soon afterward. As it became clear what was happening, the city's Office of Information Technology team shut down nearly all of the city's non-emergency systems to prevent the further spread of the attack. It's not clear how widespread the ransomware was within the network, but the city's email and IP-based phones were among the systems affected. The mayor's Office of Information Technology has been struggling to regain its footing over the past 2 years after a string of fired chief information officers. 4 consecutive CIOs were fired or forced to resign over a period of 5 years. Frank Johnson, who now holds the titles of both CIO and digital officer for the city, was hired in November 2017 after leaving a position as a regional vice president of sales for Intel. Johnson led the development of a digital strategy for the city that aimed to bring Baltimore's IT spending more in line with those of similar sized cities and transform its IT practices. According to a 2018 strategy document, Baltimore spends about half of what other cities budget for IT, and the Office of Information Technology only controls about 1% of the total budget. The city's primary website is hosted on Amazon Web Services and operated by a contractor. But the city almost lost that website earlier this month, too, but not because of ransomware. The contract for operating the site had expired, and the city was delinquent in its payments.
First of all, did they use Sophos by any chance? Did they remove the patches that were going to protect them from this?
I feel like as this story went on, this was just a series of
unfortunate events,
mistakes that could have easily have prevented the whole thing. When you're sitting there going, they had an IT strategy, but they didn't put it in place for it.
Yeah.
They talked about increasing the budget line for training, but they didn't. They had people that weren't doing their job, so they got rid of them and they hired somebody else, but it didn't work. It's like, come on.
And they didn't listen.
Yeah.
So they finally hired an IT person who knows what they're doing,
right?
and doesn't listen to them.
Right, who pitched a great idea, and they just ignored them. Can you imagine that guy being like, knock, 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 I just want to say, I told you so.
Exactly.
So remember that thing that I told you might happen and probably would happen?
But you know what
has
sucks?
Happened.
You
now
know what sucks? He's a person just like us.
Right.
It's still his job.
Yeah.
And you're still just trying to eke your way through life, you know?
Right. And now these ransomware guys that have got a hold on that city.
For the second time in 12 months.
Right. So now what?
Listen to your IT manager, the person that you hired to be your CIO, and put some money into infrastructure that is going to protect you from these types of attacks. Don't be an idiot.
I truly feel like people need to wise up in today's
Sure they do.
tech-based
Why does
world.
it take having to have an entire city compromised twice in a row? Are they going to wise up now?
They gotta be smart. I get budgets, I get, cost savings, but there are certain things that you just don't want to ignore. It's kind of like life insurance. You know, you should have life insurance because you never know what's going to happen in life. And a lot of people are like, oh, I can't afford life insurance. I don't want to. It's maybe I'll never die. But you want to have that protection. And it's same with the tech. Like, it's going to happen. In today's world, something bad is going to happen. Protect yourself.
Right. So now the city of Baltimore, the residents are going to have to foot the bill for the ransomware.
Yep.
Hold on.
And
Not
then-
even. Just
and
to
then-
recover.
Yeah.
Yeah, which
Okay?
is more than the
And
bill.
Consider this. The cost to mitigate proactively would have been less
Right.
than the cost to mitigate reactively.
Right.
Think about that. The number of days that have been lost by workers, the amount of money that they're having to still pay staff
Yeah.
who have to bring in their home laptop because they can't use
Right.
work computers.
I can't,
But not only that, I mean,
can't imagine.
you
I
got
don't
the-
want to imagine.
You think about the fact that people can't pay their water bill. What happens when the city goes, okay, we got it all fixed now. I know it's been 3 months, but you now owe us 3 months of water bill. And people are going, I don't have 3 months of water bill.
Yeah.
Like, that money's gone. Now, granted, they should have budgeted, but is there going to be repercussions to this where it's like, I know we couldn't take your money for 3 months, but now you owe us everything. And because, we got to pay for
And
what
a
we
fee
just
for
paid
late payment.
So you're thinking they're going to have to collect on debts to
Yeah.
themselves in order to
I could totally see that
cover
happening.
this. Yeah. And that's just not fair to the citizens who are probably sitting there thinking like I am, what the heck?
Yeah.
What is our government doing?
It's too bad.
I mean, and this trickles down. This is not just a government thing. This is not
Right.
just a Baltimore thing. This is a business thing. I've had customers who have been in the same situation where ransomware has hit after I've made suggestions for proactive prevention
Right.
and backups. Backups are a huge deal.
Oh.
And ransomware has hit. And then they look at the cost of recovery. Okay, let's get back up and running. We're back in business 2 weeks later, right? After losing so much business and so much time. And then, okay, let's just keep going along. Okay, we've recovered. No, hold on.
Wait.
You still don't have active backups. You still don't have proactive protection against this thing, and you still have bloomin' remote desktop turned on your computers. What the heck are you thinking? No,
Yeah.
we need to stop this now so that it doesn't happen again, and then it happens again. This is what happened to Baltimore.
Right.
And this is what I've seen time and time again, and it's infuriating, and yet I'm just the indignant IT guy that is like, I told you so. Right? I told
Yeah.
you so. But not
But
so
you
much
can't
as
say, "I
not
told you,"
to rub it
you're
in your
like-
face, but to
exactly.
say, come on, please listen to me.
Right. So
Please just spend the money
so
proactively.
What does your script kind of sound like? Okay, this time you didn't prevent it, but let's fix it and let's prevent it for the future. Like,
It always comes down to the money, though. And that's
right.
where it's like, okay, you need to be proactive.
But how do they assume that they're not going to be hit again? Like, how do they assume they're not going to be
Nobody
hit to begin
assumes they're going to
with?
be hit twice. Nobody assumes they're going to be hit three
and
times.
that's the issue.
But
People think they're not going to hit. I already got hit.
Yeah.
I'm good. They're going to move on. It doesn't work that way.
But you still have remote desktop turned on. And I think we need to get through our heads, too, that ransomware attacks are very often untargeted.
right.
We fall into this complacent state where we believe that ransomware attacks are targeted.
No, they're just looking.
Why
Right,
would
it's not a
anyone want to attack
person-
me?
Exactly. It's not a person looking at you as a business or a
Right.
company. It's
You're
a
just a
bot
number.
that's just looking
Yep.
for an open door, and then they find it and they get you.
It's so think of it this way. So ransomware is the teenage kid that is walking through a parking lot of a mall, pulling on every door handle, just to see what one opens.
Yeah.
And as soon as one opens, what do? And I'm not saying teenage kids are bad. This is just an
It's just
example, just
random.
to put an analogy on
Broad
there for
painting
you.
of the brush.
A door opens. What's on the seat? What's easy to grab?
Right.
Right? So similarly, if you've got doors open and they're walking around, these are the bots.
Yeah.
They're just walking around pulling on door handles. It's not a targeted thing. It wasn't your car that they targeted. You left the stupid door open.
That's right.
So lock your doors, folks.
Yep.
And if it costs money to put a lock in, then do it. And if we've learned anything from Baltimore, that's what it is.
Listen to Robbie.
Yeah, buy my antivirus. Yeah, that'd be a good sale.
That would be great.
Except they have no money left.
True.
Yeah.
South Korea wants to switch government computers to Linux-based software.
Nice.
Yeah, ditching Microsoft Windows in the process. The country's Ministry of the Interior and Safety believe that migrating away from Microsoft Windows will lower costs and reduce reliance on a single operating system. With 2020 bringing the end of free support for Windows 7, a system widely used throughout the South Korean government, the timing is prudent. There's no word yet on what sort of Linux distribution South Korea might use or whether the government would create its own, but there are a few hurdles Linux needs to clear first. Although Linux is free to use for anybody, even government, moving to a Linux-based OS is not a cost-free endeavor. In fact, the ministry expects switching to Linux will cost a cool $655 million US. That takes into account the price of implementation, transition, and the purchase of new PCs. The ministry plans to test run Linux on its systems to check for compatibility and security issues. And if no major issues are encountered during the pilot run, then Linux systems will roll out more widely, potentially serving as the catalyst for more governments to adopt Linux. Whether South Korea switches to Linux in the end or not, it's nice that Linux is being viewed as a viable, practical choice by those in charge.
Oh, I'd have to agree with that.
Sure. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Way to go, South Korea. You rock.
That's kind of the trend that we're in, though, right? Like, if you are on Windows 7 in your networks and you have to upgrade or pay for support after January, why not be looking at Ubuntu?
Sure.
Why not be looking at some flavor of Linux that is a rolling release? There's no, with Linux, there's none of this Windows 7, Windows 10, whatever's next, and having to buy and upgrade every computer. No, you can roll out rolling upgrades. When a new version comes out, you roll to the next version.
Right.
And it continues to be free. So you're reallocating those funds from licensing to labor, essentially. Right. So you're giving jobs to your people. And funding families and people within your community, and at the same time, licensing. You're using the license of free software.
Right.
That's fantastic.
You will not be the last. You may be the first, but you will not be the last.
Not even the first.
I don't know.
No,
you may be.
But it's big. I mean, that's a big number,
That's a huge...
and so I'm not sure what number of computers that represents, but it's got to be huge.
Right.
More than 5.
At least 5. At least 5.
At least 5.
Yeah. And it has, we talk about antivirus and things like that. And so then it's like, okay, well, how does that impact the bottom line of antivirus now?
Yeah.
Anti-malware.
Right.
And then we've got to start looking at, okay, so even if you're on Linux, you still need to have some kind of proactive protection so that if there are rogue things occurring within your network, that you are aware of those.
Yep.
Right.
So it shifts. You're shifting from antivirus, because viruses are not an issue, to simple remediation of, or even being able to monitor assets in such a way that you can track malicious traffic.
I wonder
Does
if
Nagios cover that much?
No, Nagios is a notification subsystem, so a different thing altogether. But
could South Korea just call Baltimore? Not right now because their phones aren't working, but
and laugh at them.
Be like, hey guys, we've got this great idea.
Hey, switch to Linux.
That's at the top of their list, Sasha. There's nothing else they're worried about, but that's at the top of the list.
If this works out, you might want to give it a try.
Oh my goodness, that's funny.
If Ubuntu gets the contract, maybe Canonical can make that call.
That's right. Google admitted Tuesday its paid-for G Suite of cloudy apps aimed at businesses stored some user passwords in encrypted plain text. Hashing is a standard industry practice that protects credentials by scrambling them using a one-way encryption algorithm. Administrators of accounts affected by the security blunder were warned via email that, in certain circumstances, passwords had not been hashed. Google was at pains to stress it was the enterprise, non-consumer version of G Suite affected, that there were no signs of misuse of the passwords, and that the passwords were encrypted at rest on the disk. Though, because they were not hashed, their sensitive contact was not fully secured. Suzanne Fry, Google VP of Engineering and Cloud Trust, explains of the administrator's ability to change user passwords. Quote, "We made an error when implementing this functionality back in 2005. The admin console stored a copy of the unhashed password. This practice did not live up to our standards. To be clear, these passwords remained in our secure encrypted infrastructure. This issue has been fixed, and we have seen no evidence of improper access or misuse of the affected passwords." Further, she went on to advise of a second flaw, this one in the user login system, saying, "We discovered that starting in January 2019, we had inadvertently stored a subset of unhashed passwords in our secure encrypted infrastructure. These passwords were stored for a maximum of 14 days. This issue has been fixed, and again, we have seen no evidence of improper access to or misuse of the affected passwords. We will continue with our security audits to ensure that this is an isolated incident." End quote. Google has already begun changing passwords for affected accounts that have not already done so.
Well, I mean, that's a good news story that it wasn't used maliciously. I can't
That we know of.
Right, but I can't help but wonder, how did it go on since 2005 and not get noticed?
Because I don't know.
They're being very transparent about it, and so there are, there's a couple of different facets to this story, and that, okay, well, who did have access to it? And were there any exploits that would have allowed a malicious party to access that data? Of course, internal staff could have accessed that data, but there's no evidence to say that they did.
Right.
So it's in internal infrastructure.
Yeah, so it's like they're there and they're like locked away on a disk, like not to be accessed from the outside world, and they are somewhat encrypted.
They're encrypted, but they're not hashed. So,
so they're like first level of. They were like passworded with password 123 kind of thing. There's a password there. It's just not super great.
Well, let's to summarize what this means as far as security goes. So, an encrypted block can theoretically be de-encrypted or unencrypted, so that data can be recovered and reversed.
Oh, okay.
A hashed block or of information, typically, if it's done correctly, is done in such a way that it's one direction, though encrypted, But if it's properly done like a hash, if it's just a hash, then it's not reversible.
Okay.
So how does that make sense? So what use is it if you can't reverse it? So if you say to me, okay, my password is password 123, and I say, okay, here's my hashing algorithm, and that is now hashed as this.
Okay.
And it's this bunch of gibberish. Okay. So I can never take that hashed information and turn it back into password 123. However, because I know the hashing algorithm, if you ever come to me with the password and say, my password is password 123, I can then hash that and say, okay, let's compare that to the hash. Does it match? Yes, it matches. I'll allow you access. So even though I don't know your password, I don't know what the hash is, or the decrypted hash, I do know that if you enter your password again, I can hash again using the same algorithm and will result in the same result.
This is the moment where I get it.
Yeah? Okay. Versus encryption, which is taking password 123 and just obfuscating it and encrypting it, which can then be unencrypted back into password 123.
Got it.
It's a different direction of the protection. So hashing is much more secure.
Okay.
Significantly
and
so.
Google has said this, right? Like, when you know better, you do better. Like, they've said, okay.
Sure.
This
And
is
they
the
know better.
deal.
Yeah.
They know better.
Yeah,
and
some intern got let go over this, I'm sure.
Yeah, but they were around in 2005.
they might already be retired.
It was probably me. All right, well, we've got to jump into our cryptocurrency market just to see where things lie, and things are not looking quite as nice as they were last week. I mean, if you took my advice, which I did not give, but if you bought Bitcoin last week, of course, it was high, and it's gone down about $430 US. It is now sitting at $7,711.65. Litecoin is down to $88.54 US dollar equivalent. Ethereum is the one coin that we track that has gone up just a little ways by $4.23 US and is currently sitting at $245.17. Monero is at $84.19, also losing about $8. And Torque, aka Stellite or PKA Stellite, is down at 1.54, 10,000ths of a cent. And your turtle coin, Jeff, I'm sorry, is only at 1.26 10,000ths of a cent.
That's right.
So those 3 turtle coin you have,
I have
keep saving.
more than 3.
Yeah, do you?
I have more than 3.
Well done, sir.
I actually lost count.
Yeah, that's a good place to be in when it comes
Yep.
to cryptocurrency.
Of course. Big thanks to Roy W. Nash and our community of viewers for submitting stories to us this week. Thanks for watching the Category 5.TV newsroom. Don't forget to like and subscribe for all your tech news with a slight Linux bias. And for more free content, be sure to check out our website. From the Category 5.TV newsroom, I'm Sasha Rickman.
And I'm Robbie Ferguson.
And I'm Jeff Weston.
Thank you for joining us this week. We will be right back. Stick around.
Whether you shop on ThinkGeek, GearBest, B&H Photo Video, eBay, or Amazon, or even if you want a free trial of Audible, you'll find the best deals and support the shows we produce by simply visiting the shopping sites you already frequent by using the links on our website. Visit category5.tv/partners for the full and ever-growing list and help us create more free content like this show. Thank you for shopping with our partners, and thank you for watching.
Well, this is Category 5 Technology TV. It's been episode number 609, and fantastic to have you here with us again this week. Just a quick reiteration, thank you to everybody who has been supporting Category 5 TV. We're very, very excited to be almost ready to rebuild our broadcast system. And when we do that, yeah, I'm looking at being able to update our broadcast to higher resolution. And currently querying our patrons and you at home, what would that mean to you? Do you have a 4K TV that it would be beneficial for you to have 2.5K of Category 5 Technology TV? I mean, those are possibilities because simply replacing our broadcast system with something more current is going to bring us to that point where we now have the capability to go up to 4K.
Right.
So, what do we want to do with that? I mean, it's just an adverse effect of the replacement, which is therefore an upgrade. So thank you to everybody who's been supporting us in that venture. It is a requirement for us here at the studio because our current broadcast server is on its way out. It's beyond its last legs, and I'm very, very pleased and excited to know that we're soon going to be rid of that old beast. I love her, but she's done. Yeah. At the end of the day, it comes down to editing on it is a brutal nightmare.
Oh.
Yeah.
The end is near.
It is, yes. And also thanks to our patrons who go to patreon.com/category5TV. Cool way to support us because you give as little as $1 a month, and that's going into our monthly bills, rent, insurance, internet, all those kinds of things, and just helps us to keep on top of things so that when things come up that we need to replace, we're more readily able to cover those and knowing that our bills are paid each and every month. And so thank you to those who are taking us on as a patron. We're on Twitter. Join us at Category 5 TV. You can also follow me personally at Robbie Ferguson, and I do follow back. And as we mentioned on this week's show, we also now have a Twitter account dedicated to the Orville fan community, and it is called at Union_Point, and I hope to see you there. And incidentally, I follow back on that one as well. We're on YouTube at as Category 5 TV, and you can search for us there. Or if you prefer to watch edited down snippets of Category 5 TV, you can go to linuxtechshow.com. We're on every platform that you can possibly desire to watch a podcast on. And if you don't see us on your favorite profile or platform, just let us know, and we will reach out to those in power and tell them to add us, and they will make it happen. I promise you that.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Everything comes together on our website, category5.tv. So if you don't feel like Googling for us and trying to track us down on your platform, just head on over to our website and everything's there. It's been fun having you here. Thanks for joining us this week, everybody, and take care. See ya.
Bye.
Bye.